Welcome back, everyone, to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. We are here. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and we have two lovely guests. We have the special Dr. Zoila Ortega and her student, or just graduated student, right?
Yes.
Marisol.
Yeah.
Thank you both for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So you all are from the Career Nursing Academy, right?
Correct.
Perfect. So I guess it's kind of a given in the name, but what do you all do?
Well, we are a school that trains personal care aides, PCAs, CNAs, certified nurses aides, and also RMAs, medication aides, registered medication aides. So we train all three categories of basic career nurses.
Okay. And what are some courses that you guys have?
Well, our programs are vocational programs, so they don't have courses, they have a course. So the PCA course lasts 40 hours. The CNA course lasts 145 hours and meets over 6 weeks. The PCA course lasts 1 week. And the RMA, or the Registered Medication Aid course, is 68 hours. So it's an hourly vocational program. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
What does the daily life in one of your students look like, and how do you make sure they succeed?
Well, we'll talk about the CNA program because that's kind of the meat and potatoes of it. The standard day, we meet twice a week from 9 to 5, and we have weekend courses that be Saturday, Sundays. We have weekday courses. We have two. One week meets Mondays and Wednesdays, and then the other one Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to 5 always, and a total of 6 weeks.
Okay, cool. What are some things, what does your graduation look like for your students? Because I know, for some people being a graduate of university, your fear is always, where do I go from here? So what are some questions that you get from your students besides where do I go from here? And how do you help guide them get into the real world with what they just learned?
Okay, we don't do job placement. Job placement is you finish and then you get put in a job. We do what's called job referrals. So we refer all of our students to as many places as they wish that are looking for example, CNAs. But here's the reality of it. In our current day, most of our students are offered a job by the third week of their 6 week class in the CNA
Wow.
class. So by the time they finish the class, they are finishing on one day and going to work on the next or within a week.
That's amazing.
Okay, there's just such a need, and for CNAs, the need for registered medication aides is even greater. So they don't even finish. They walk in because they have a job in hand already, and they're just waiting to get to that job training so that they can get to the job. PCAs work exclusively in homes, in home care, or in assisted living facilities. So they can't work in hospitals, they can't work in skilled nursing homes. And the PCAs are very much in demand because so many seniors in particular just need a little help. They don't need nursing in the basic nursing sense. What they need is somebody to help them get up and go to the shower and get food ready for them and walk with them and that kind of thing. And that's what a PCA does. It's a limited program. And you would think limited employability, but that's not the case either. PCAs get hired again before they finish the 40 hours. And the 40 hours for a PCA is spread over a week. So it's just a week's training.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they get employed.
Do you ever have like an agency that has already hired somebody and they've referred you to them to get the courses done, or like a company or anything like that?
Actually, we have 9 of those. We have agencies and facilities that hire from us heavily. And we'll say we need 5 PCAs, for example. Can you send them to us? Yeah, and they partner with us. We have a program called Train to Hire. So we will train individuals so that they can get hired right away.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get into what you do?
Well, the short story is my mother had Alzheimer's, and I was caring for her at home. And since I'm an RN in the beginning, I started as an RN. Um, I thought I was very well prepared to take care of her. And what I learned is that what you know in your head does not translate well to what you know in your heart. And very quickly, I found out that I needed help. But being a stubborn nurse as I am, I figured, well, I only need a couple of hours, 2 to 4 hours, 2 times a week. Well, that was um, wrong. And basically, what happened was I realized I needed more help than I ever anticipated. And I wanted help from a CNA because it wasn't really a nurse that I needed. But my mother, her English is not great. So I needed somebody that was bilingual, Spanish English. Um, and there was no one to be found. So I had set up CNA programs for universities throughout the United States as an allied responsibility, wasn't my primary responsibility. But I quickly found out that if I wanted a CNA that was bilingual in Virginia, in somewhat rural sub-central Virginia, I needed to train one myself. And so I developed the program for myself, really for my mother, so I could hire someone that I trained who could speak Spanish to her. And anybody who's dealt with Alzheimer's knows that as the progression of the disease goes on, the person goes back to their original language more and more. And so she truly did need somebody who was bilingual.
That I can understand. My grandfather didn't have Alzheimer's, he had dementia. And it was difficult for my grandmother to take care of him alone a lot of the time because he would either confuse her for someone else or say that, she was gone all the time, but she was with him all day. So I can understand that. And we're Greek, so that was difficult.
Oh,
Even more
okay.
so finding somebody who speaks Greek.
Yeah. Well, actually, Tikanis, I speak a little Greek. Yes.
It's very rare, but some people do, and it's really nice to hear it. But is it a requirement for people to be able to speak Spanish at your nursing academy?
No, absolutely not. It's just that um, um, when I set up the school, and as I said, I had set up 7 other programs from University of Chicago, Catholic Charities in Chicago, Washington, D.C. I had set up 7 programs because I was faculty at various universities. And I realized that all of those programs that I set up, Dramatic Community College, I set up their nurse aid program, all of those programs had lots of requirements that were not required by the state to be trained. And those requirements were challenges. Um, you had to have a physical or a dental exam or take 2 courses to show that you were prepared to take college courses. And the reality is that those are not state requirements. They're not Board of Nursing requirements. And so why I thought that those were challenging people and blocking people to get into it is because who are the people who want to be nurse aides? Often they have language barriers. A lot of the times they have life barriers. They have children, they're single mothers, they don't have the finances. So paying for a physical and a dental exam is a drain on limited finances. They may have learning disabilities. Doesn't mean they can't learn, they just learn differently. So the school is dedicated to people who have had challenges in getting education and want to get into nursing, but there's something that has made it hard for them to get there. And language is just one of them, but certainly individuals that have learning disabilities, financial difficulties, they can't get the money together to take the course. So we have a work study program. So we do have several partners that cover the cost of training. We have mechanisms that allow people to come into the course. And then truthfully, we have a very large number of nursing students before they become nursing students that are smart enough to realize that if they become a CNA first, they get good training and they can be more successful when they go into nursing programs. And we even truthfully have had quite a few medical students
That's amazing.
because it helps them get into medical school.
Yeah. So you found a problem within a niche and you created a solution for it.
Mostly societal problems, community problems, that by the existence of the school, we are handling those problems.
I love it. Now, Marisol, what was your experience like as a student?
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was really helpful for me. I love the program. I love. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Also, not only that you learn there, but Dr. Ortega and the staff, it's very kind. They are helpful with you, and
Patience.
Everyone that wants to do it can do it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Well,
Yes.
what's interesting about Marisol is that she's actually Argentinian, relatively recent arrival to the US, and she exemplifies what we can do. Because we're not a large organization, we're a fairly significant school. We've graduated in 9.5 years, we've graduated over 1,500 CNAs. So we're a significant player in the area that we're in, but we're certainly not a large school. We can have bilingual instructors. We can have bilingual lab assistants, and English Spanish is most common, but we have English French, we have English German, we have Tagalog, English Tagalog, with individuals that are able to teach and speak both or several languages. So that makes it great. And for someone like Marisol, who's come recently from another country, we can make automatic instant translation. Actually, English is my second language, so I can do automatic translation. I don't think about it. And that's not something that's readily available in large institutions that are so programmed and bureaucratic. We don't. We can adjust. So we do mentoring for students that are having difficulty. We have a private classroom for individuals that have learning disabilities. And we can do it because we're not talking about 10,000 people. Our maximum student class is 10.
So you like to keep it small. You want to keep that personability. I like that a lot. I think people find a value in that because you're able to customize it for people. Whereas, like you said, the bigger the school gets, the harder it is to be able to provide that personal feeling and customization for the learning disabilities and people that need that one-on-one more often.
Yeah, when I arrived here, my English was 0. And at the time I was studying for the course, I was learning English as well. So it was great. And she encouraged me, she pushed me to do it. And I'm here.
Well, you speak English very well.
Oh.
You wouldn't even know. My dad came here he came to the United States when he was 16. And so English is his second language. And of course, he still has an accent. And people ask him all the time, where are you from? And he's like, what are you talking about? He doesn't have an accent. You do, but it's
Good
okay.
answer. Good answer. Yeah.
So how can people get in touch with you?
Well, the best way is to call 703-402-2509. Chances are probably 95% that it'll be me because I usually carry the phone. I'm the person who carries the phone. They can, of course, look at our website, and I encourage people to do that because the website says so much about us. It has lots of pictures, and you really see kind of the spirit of the school in the website, and that's careernursingacademy.com. It's not, it's just the name with the .com at the end of it. So those are the two easiest way. And of course, people, if they call, we encourage people to come in and get a tour of the school so they see us, they see the classrooms. They very often can actually see a course in action.
Oh, wow.
And that is, I think, really helpful, especially people who are sitting on a fence. Sometimes there are people who are older, the 55, 60-year-old who's finished a career but want to do something else because they still have a lot to give. But they're hesitant. They don't know what it's going to be like to go back to school, or somebody who's really had a bad educational experience all along, and they want to do this, but they don't even feel confident that they can learn. So we do the tour, I think, helps a lot for
I
those.
love that. I think that's a good glimpse into what you guys do and the experience that they'll have.
And we truthfully, we change lives with our programs. I mean, we've had students that have been homeless that have come to our school and are now, they have their own apartment and are doing really well. Several students that have bought houses and they tend to let us know,
Oh, they keep, oh, good.
We are like an extended family.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
They tend to let us know how they're doing. We have a number of students that are currently in medical school, and 8 that are in nursing programs. So at last count. So we have an impact on people who are trying to achieve something and may have had difficulties in the past, or maybe had no difficulties, but they've come to us and they've seen progress in their life. So that makes us feel really good about
It should. I think you guys from what I understand, you guys did a wonderful job. And I always say this, when an accredited business comes in here and does a podcast, you can tell that they really love what they do. Because coming in here alone to talk about it to everybody else that's watching or listening, it means a lot to them because they get to understand who you are, not just as a business owner, but the person behind a business. And really, you can tell that personality and the characteristics seeps into what you do every day and who you affect. And so a lot of people love that.
Well, our program is kind of unique, and it goes kind of from where you're talking. We have to meet state requirements. We're approved by the Virginia Board of Nursing. So we meet all of those requirements, but some of the things we do, some of the teaching we do in a unique way. And I'll give this as an example. For example, yesterday, this just happened. We take our students out to lunch once during their 6 weeks time towards the end. And yesterday was an out to lunch. And what that means is we'll take them to one of 4 restaurants that are in the complex that the school is in. They choose, but the thing is, they go to lunch with a device. They have to be handicapped. So they choose what they are. They can be blind, they have eye covers, they could be deaf, we have earplugs, they could be in a wheelchair or in a walker, or they could have a brace, but they choose it. But they have to go to lunch with it. Okay. So we take them out to lunch. We have lunch. It's usually a fun time. And then after lunch, they have to go to a local little store to buy certain items. And this store has, it's one of the dollar stores, and it has a lot of items, but it also has a lot of items in the aisles. So walking through that store with a wheelchair is pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have them get big items like 32 bottles of water or 6 rolls of paper towels. And they have to bring that back to the school, walk it back.
While being disabled, based off of what they choose.
Yeah. So that we could, and we do a class on disabilities. Okay. But learning it this way is so much more powerful.
It really is. It's a different way of putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
I believe that is the purpose. Put yourself in someone else. And my father used to say, treat other like you will be treated.
Yeah.
So I think is the reason. When I was a student, I don't remember which device I pick up. I don't remember, but I think I realized I am not I was not able to walk, and I say, oh my gosh, that happened with people who can't really walk, and I say, oh my gosh, it's difficult.
It's hard,
Yeah,
especially
it's
when you're
hard.
older, but you're right, you don't know unless you experience it as they would be
Exactly.
experiencing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we teach a lot like that. We teach in a way that's so interactive that people who may have difficulty learning in the standard way can learn. Okay.
I love that.
Mhm.
Well, Dr. Ortega, Marisol, thank you so much for joining me. I had a wonderful time getting to know you all.
Well, thank you for again having us.
Thank you for
Pleasure.
having us.
Yes, I love meeting new people and having new businesses come in here and talk about what they do. It's really important. For anybody that's watching on YouTube, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. It helps our algorithm out. If you don't know the YouTube channel, it's BBB Central VA. And if you're listening on Spotify, BBB Sharing, please make sure to follow us and share the audio out. Thank you.
Thank you.